Well, first of all, I am so happy everybody is here in person, and those who will be watching this, I'm just happy to be sharing this wonderful opportunity. I'm very excited about it myself, but in case you don't know who I am, I'm Lisa. I think most of you know who I am. This is Max, and Max is from Belmond, and he just got off of one of the barges. So he's going to kind of share his experience. And then Kim in the back is my assistant. She kind of helps me keep all my stuff together, which is great. So I just want to welcome all of you. And tonight we're going to be presenting the Belmond barge that I have chartered for just us. And my husband and I will be going along to escort it. And Max is just going to share what the experience is like, and then we can have a question and answer. This is very informal, so we want to make it to where you guys can ask questions. You can raise your hand as he's going through it, and we can, is that okay with you, Max?
Sure, yeah.
And that way we can get all of your questions answered. So again, welcome, enjoy food, wine. Let me know if you need more wine, and we'll get it poured for you, okay? All right.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for this nice introduction. And it's really great to not just talk about travel, but like traveling, right? We are already on planes and trains. Have you guys traveled already post-pandemic? So yeah, it's great. I feel when I meet my travel advisor clients, we remember the days of Zoom and, and dreaming about travel. So it's really exciting to be back and doing things we like. But I am going to be your entertainment tonight. My name is Max Knighton, and I am account director for Belmond. So I work with luxury virtuoso agents like Lisa and Ursula in helping making your dreams come true. This is a photo of me last week. I sailed on Amaryllis, which is one of our barges in Burgundy. So I did include a lot of photos throughout the presentation. So, hopefully this will tell you of the experience and what to expect. But before we talk about your Provence barge and the journey, I kind of want to share with you about Belmond. Oops, I apologize. It's actually, for whatever reason, moving fast, and I'm not doing anything to it. It tends to kind of go on those, it keeps changing slides sometimes. But before we go into the itinerary and the experiences, I want to share with you about Belmond, because some of you ask questions, what is Belmond? So we started 45 years ago. Many of you might know us from our old name. We used to be called Orient Express. Hotels, trains, and cruises. We have been pioneering travel really for 4 decades. We have been innovating, introducing barges, but we started with one train, the Venice Simplon Orient Express. And here it does. I'm confused. So if I have to go, my apologies. But this is how we started 45 years ago. Our owner and founder, Mr. Sherwood, he actually owned a ship containing company. And he was always curious whatever happened to the legendary carriages of the Venice Simplon Orient Express. He found them in a really bad condition. He restored them, he renovated to the original glory of that heyday of train travel, and that was the beginning of the Venice Simplon Orient Express and the Orient Express Company. Because the train operates Paris to Venice, Venice to Paris route, he needed a hotel in Venice, so he bought the iconic Hotel Cipriani. Many of you, again, probably heard about this property. He never bought a hotel in Paris. I don't know why, but maybe now. But 45 years later, this is who we are now. We have 32 hotels. We have 3 safari lodges. We have 7 luxury barges. We have 1 river cruiser in Myanmar. Unfortunately, this country is closed now. And then we own and operate 6 trains. And again, we own everything. We're not a management company, so we are the owner. In 2019, and this is really important to know, we were bought by LVMH. LVMH is a Louis Vuitton company. The full name is Moët Hennessy Louis Vuitton. And they own over 60 maisons, everything from Dior to Bulgari to Removal Luggage, and now Belmond. So we're definitely very delighted to be part of this family. And I think before the pandemic, it probably was one of the best things that happened to Belmond. Actually, when the company was for sale, everybody was wondering, is it going to be Marriott? Is it, the big companies come and change the brand. So LVMH is definitely very much dedicated to the longevity of the brand. But this is a good slide I do like to talk about because it also will show you who we are as a company. We believe that the soul of the building or a cruise or a train should always shine through. And what that means is we do not build hotels. We buy hotels. We buy them for their cultural significance, for their historic significance, and their location. And this is a good example. This is our Grand Hotel Timeo up in Sicily. It shares the wall with the 3,000-year-old Greek country theater in the back. And then in the front, you're looking at Mount Etna. This is a good example. This is Hotel das Cataratas in Iguazu Falls. Location. You wake up in the morning before the tourist buses come in. The park opens at 6 o'clock in the morning. You are the first with your camera in the middle of the waterfalls. And then I like this slide. This is our Eagle Island Lodge in Onakawanga Delta. You wake up in the morning and these are your neighbors greeting you. So hopefully you get who we are. And we're not just a hotel company. Many times clients say, are you Four Seasons? Are you Ritz-Carlton? We are on our own. And this is our Barge product. It's called Le Bateau. In French, it means boats. And we have a collection of 7 luxury barges. And Lisa is chartering one of them called the Napoleon. The Napoleon sails in Provence. And these are 7-day journeys. We usually depart on a Sunday and on a Saturday. The charter that Lisa is doing is on May 5th. And the reason we chose May, and again, I speak from my experience that I just came back from a barge, is it's a great season to travel because it's not that hot, it's not that humid, and most importantly, it's not that crowded. These boats are barges, are seasonal. We start operating at the end of March, and we end the season at the end of October. So now everything is blooming, everything in season, and when you come to these medieval towns and villages, you have almost them to yourself. You do not have the big tourist buses, you do not have the crowds. I took lots of photos. I'm all alone. I'm taking a selfie, and you can see the church behind, you can see the winery behind. So that's also, again, the reason why we chose May. Napoleon sleeps 12 guests, 6 cabins, and the way how the barge is designed, this is your top deck. So we have lounge chairs for you to sunbathe or relax or read a book. We also have the covered area, which is an outdoor dining area. So we have the table there, and many times we can serve breakfast there or lunch or dinner, depending on the weather and on your desires. The second deck here is the ship's living room area. So, and there are photos on your itinerary, so you can see it's kind of your classic French design, beautiful classic furniture and upholstery. Then the indoor dining area here, and that's where we also can have meals if the weather is not permitting, or for a change, where you might dine, maybe have breakfast in the morning if it's maybe a little bit chilly outside. And then here we have the most important room, the kitchen. That's where the chef is making the dreams come true. And believe me, you will eat a lot. This is your all-inclusive experience. All-inclusive. So all your fine wine, and when I say fine wine, in Burgundy, for example, they were serving Grand Crus. And as you know, there are only 33 Grand Crus, and we got to taste some of them. Premium Crus, lots of cheese. There was cheese in the morning, there was cheese for lunch, and there was lots of cheese in the evening. And they come, I enjoy because I do enjoy cheese, but gosh, I mean, France has hundreds of cheese, types, and, they come and they say, and this cheese is blah, 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 I don't know. They might just as well create the name because I wouldn't know the difference. But if you are an Epicurean and if you're into food and wine, I mean, it definitely takes this to the next level. They bring the cheese, they talk about cheese, they ask, if you want, which cheese you want to try, and then they serve it on a beautiful plate. And I think I have a photo of that plate. And then at the bottom here, these are the bedrooms. Oh, and actually one bedroom, one of the bedrooms is here on the main deck too. So I apologize. So we made here, limited mobility, that couple can get that room. All rooms are the same. All rooms are the same. And Lisa can share, the floor plan and the square footage of each room. And then there are 3 rooms here. They all have these windows. And then the crew is here. They sleep right here. So if you have done, and I have talked to a few of them, who has done a river cruise before? So have you cruised before?
I've cruised, but
You have done other. So if the river cruise, it's a mini cruise, right? It takes you to places we always say you will probably, would never typically see. It takes you to small towns, small villages.
But it's very different from a barge cruise is very different, I think.
Absolutely. I say it's kind of like on steroids. It's more, it's intimate because,
And the wine and
yeah.
cheese.
you are chartering a bar. I mean, you are all chartering a barge. I mean, even though Lisa, but it's yours. So from the time you step on board, you're greeted with, with a glass of champagne. They ask you, what time would you prefer dinner? You all decide, 7, 7:30, 8. They say, today for dinner, the chef is thinking dark, da. Yes, when I traveled, one lady was vegetarian, so they catered to her needs. Another lady always wanted to have salads. The chef prepared. It's your barge, so it's really customized. And the service. I mean, we had 2 waiters, a chef, a guide. The guide is always with us. The guide, she sleeps on the barge. And we had, of course, the captain, and then his, helper, the guy who was helping to navigate the barge. But when we talk again, to go back to the all-inclusive, all your experiences on land are also included. There is a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, a minivan that follows a barge, and that's what we use to take you, to wineries, to castles, to chateaus, whatever you are doing. So again, the convenience is, it's priceless. Basically, the minivan will pick you up, you come out from your barge, the minivan is there, and the minivan will take you wherever that experience might be. And then once you finish your excursion, you get back on the minivan, and the guide will drive you back. Basically, it's the guide who kind of takes care of that. And he or she will be one guide for the duration of your journey. So you're not meeting new people every day, you build a relationship, rapport, and that is your person. This was Daniela. She was our main waitress. Always smiling. I mean, the service was exceptional. And I love a good champagne. When I bought it, but you can see it. And again, I mean, it's that, it's all inclusive,
Well, it is a sister company.
yeah, that's right. Veuve is our preferred, or Moët Chandon.
Yeah.
So, but they always reminded me, I would say, can I have a glass of Prosecco? You're in France, Max, it's champagne. So that kind of is my funniest story. But again, this is, you can see an outdoor area with this beautiful table that I also have a few pictures, how they set up. But the journey starts in Paris. We do include a high-speed train that will take you from Paris to Valence on Rhone River. And that is about a 2-hour trip. You will get to the barge around 5:30 in the evening, and that really will be an evening to relax. Lisa is planning to do pre-barge experience and post for those who want to maybe rest before getting on the barge and stay a few days in Paris or a few days after the barge. But basically that evening will be getting to know each other, getting to know the crew, settling down. They will come after the time you want dinner, 8 o'clock, and the dinner will be served. And then the next evening, the fun begins. So on May 6th, you will start cruising the Rhone River. I made a few notes because again, each itinerary is different. And this is just a sample itinerary. This is what we recommend. You can all discuss with Lisa your interests, your personal needs, and she can work with all of us to accommodate. But this is really what everybody wants to see and what everybody wants to experience in Provence. But I'm sorry, on Rhone River. But the main fact about the Rhone River, I made some notes. There are 27 unique grape varieties allowed for planting. More than 5,000 producers, domains, and vineyards. Red wine, of course, is king on Rhone Valley, and then rosé and white wine follows. Very ancient vineyards. They were planted by Romans. I mean, and when I went in Burgundy to some of these wineries, I mean, they're centuries old. I mean, it was just mind-boggling. I lived in San Francisco for 15 years before moving here. So, I mean, I feel like I'm a wino. I mean, I'm not really, I don't know the facts, but this has nothing. I mean, Northern California winos have nothing to compare to this one. And there is so much pride and again, so much excellence in that. So if you are into wine, you will definitely elevate your wine knowledge. I finally learned how to read the French wine labels, because as you know, there are all these names and all these facts. But wine has been cultivated there for the past 2,000 years. So, I mean, that's what we're really talking about. So on May 6th, you will cruise on the Rhone. And the way how the day is structured, typically, again, you can, study the itinerary, and I will give you an idea of what you're going to see. But you wake up in the morning, again, the night before, the crew will ask, what time do you want breakfast served? Breakfast is always served together. So you kind of agree, 8 a.m. I would wake up, have a cup of coffee, go, watch the scenery pass by. It's very slow travel. On a 7-day cruise, we don't go more than 50 miles. I mean, you can leave the barge, and a lot of us, and you will probably do that. You can leave the barge and enter the barge at locks. Whenever we are in a lock, you go up, and then they open the bridge, and you leave the barge. We have bikes on the barge. So that's also fun, or you take a beautiful stroll. And you stroll and the barge is still there, and you stroll and the barge is still there. We had to look, where is this barge? Well, again, it's slow travel, very, very slow. So you can meet the barge at the next lock, or you will walk back, to the barge. You see lots of locals actually biking in the morning, lots of cyclists. In the evening, you will see locals walking their pets. What's interesting too, along the canal and rivers, there are always, pathways and walkways, so, it's very, very convenient. Sometimes lunch will be served on a barge, sometimes lunch is in a town or a village you're visiting, but again, all your meals are included. Again, depending on the itinerary. I had one lunch in a winery, inside the cellar. So again, very unique experiences, or at a famous, restaurant in the town or village. Sometimes you might not leave the barge until after lunch. And then in the evening, again, the minivan will bring you to the barge and you will have your dinner. They will talk about the menu, they bring the menu, you decide, what you would like, maybe personally, and it will be the end of the day. Any questions? Am I painting the picture? My favorite thing was waking up to the fresh smell of croissants. And the freshly brewed coffee. And then the fun thing too was the chef or the guide, they would do the shopping. It's freshly prepared food, it's locally sourced food. So the guide, if we had, again, it's very casual, it's very casual. I mean, they're running the show, they're all working together. So the guide would drop us to the winery. We would be with the winery for, 2 hours or, whatever the tour time. And then the guide would go to the local market. So she would come with, bags of local cheeses, greens. Also, she would buy wine from the wineries. I mean, you could really see it, the show happening in front of you. And then I would see the greens on the plate the next morning. All right, so back to the May 6th, you will visit Vivers, which is a tiny medieval city, of course, brimming with the historic charm. So you will, many times we'll do a walking tour with the guide. If there is a castle or a chateau, they will include that experience and will take you inside that area. So again, consult the itinerary and discuss this with Lisa. But this is what you will see on a walking tour. This is the photo I took of my barge. This is Amaryllis. You can just see, how slow it is. It was one of the most relaxing experiences I've ever had. I mean, you connect with the nature. I enjoyed. This was my sitting area right here. I would put the deck chair, every day. But then your barge is built differently. You will be on top. So you will be higher. This is the dining room setup we had every night. They decorate, they do different themes. The sunsets were just very magnificent and really picturesque. Okay, on May 7th, we will be stopping in Grignon, which is famous for, again, their medieval chateau, as you can see here. This is the photo of my breakfast. Fresh croissants, fruits. You want eggs, potatoes. The chef will custom prepare that for you. And you see, there is always tea. But what you will do in Grignon, they will take you to a truffle farm and you will have that unique experience. This is some of the wine tasting we did. Again, everything is private. You're never with a group. You're just with a group of 12 people you're traveling with. So you always have that exclusive access. This is Joseph Abound Winery, 300 years old. That's where the French kings and church stored their wine. These are the locks, and there will be many of them. That was also one of the fun experiences. But this is where you will be able to leave the barge, put into the barge when you are in a lock. All right, day May 8th, you will go to Châteauneuf-du-Pape. My French, forgive my French. But this was the summer home of the Avignon Pope. But of course, famous for its local wines. And then you will also go and see Pont du Gard, which is the famous aqueduct, going back to the Roman times. The chef always greets you with smile. This was our chef. I talked to some of you. I was born and raised in Lithuania. He was raised and he was born and raised in Lithuania too. So he was very surprised to see a fellow Lithuanian. So it was fun to exchange stories, how I ended up in America and working for Belmond, and how he ended up in France as well. He left Lithuania many years ago, went to Scotland and became a chef there. So again, the connection you make with fellow travelers and the crew. By the end of the journey, we were all friends, and I have a photo. I mean, we're literally crying. I was trying to get the chef come and, work in Chicago. But this is one of my favorite meals we had. It was dining outside, on a nice day. It's just marvelous. We had salads, we have cheeses, we had lamb, we had potato, and of course, lots and lots of wine. And you see, we're sitting inside a lock. Very, very little time. Of course, they warn you, if you drop your phone, say goodbye, because it's gonna get smashed. And every now and then you hear, the scratching. So on May 9th, we will go to Avignon, which was the home of popes from 1309 to 1377. You will visit the magnificent Palais de Pape, which was the former papal palace, and you will have some free time to shop and walk around. Again, you will have the guide. The guide is with you from the beginning to end. She picks you up on the barge and then drops you back on the barge. So if you need advice on where to go, where to shop, if you want to stop at a local cafe, he or she will advise you of that. These are the bikes I talked about. I mean, it's just fascinating. I mean, it's I never thought I would see France from that intimate perspective, when you were inside the country. And then this is also one of your stops on this itinerary, Le Bas du Provence. On May 10th, we'll go to Arles. Are you familiar with all these towns that I'm talking about? So Arles, we have a lot of Roman ruins, so that's what Arles is popular with. Lots of boulevards, this Colosseum. Also, another town we're going to go to, Van Gogh was inspired by it. Saint Remy, of course, doesn't need an introduction. And this is how it looks inside. So when I say you get close and personal, you get close and personal. And this is the scenery. This is my photo. I mean, you see the locals waking up in the morning. You see, when we're in locks, there is a lock person also, that travels, kind of follows us to help us if, and even if we need their assistance. But the captain talks to the local, because they pass them every week. So I am told we have to bribe the lock people with the cheese, so they're always on your side. I mean, it's just, that's how they do business there. I mean, it's just fascinating. And then this is the end of our journey. I mean, we're all friends and we're all sad to leave. So questions. So hopefully, I took you, kind of gave you an idea of what to expect. Yes.
Okay. When you have wine tasting, is it done in French or in English?
It's in English. It's an English speaking guide, it's an English speaking experience. Because you're from the United States, so, even if we're going into a winery and the winery takes care of you, it's an English speaking experience.
So you
Yeah.
just mentioned you were on canals, is that also available?
Excuse me?
You took the barge cruise on the canals, which is a little different,
Correct.
so is that also available?
Oh, on a separate occasion, not, yeah,
Actually,
absolutely, yeah.
What are the accommodations like for each?
Sure. So, Lisa, I don't have the exact dimensions, but Lisa will share with you. She will share with you the exact square footage but they are, beds for two people, they also can be separated. So if, two friends are traveling together, they will be separated. There might be a desk, to write letters, or read a book. And good closet space, to hang your clothes. Also, there's shelving. The luggage will go under the bed. And really comfortable shower. And Lisa again can share, photos with you. I was really surprised because, you can see I'm a tall person. Bathrooms were very comfortable. The shower was bigger than on a cruise ship. I guess depending on what cabin you are on a cruise. It's not a cruise ship, a luxury cruise ship cabin. It's your kind of standard cruise ship cabin. We're not talking about suites, it's intimate space, but it's comfortable. Good shower pressure. I mean, again, I love that. Anything you can say since you barged?
Well, I went on the same company and had two very different experiences, so. Besides, the cabin does matter to some people,
Yeah,
not to others. Many people have gone a couple of times and like you say, you only sleep there.
yeah.
But
But Lisa will provide you. I mean, I just had a charter booking from another agency. And, clients obviously wanted to know the square footage and everything. We can provide it. So again, Lisa can contact me and I can contact my operations
You don't
people.
need to, they sent it.
They send it.
They
yeah.
sent it to me.
Yeah.
I also have a question. Has there ever been an issue with difficulty going through the locks because of the fact that the river is very, very low? I've talked to other people who've been on, different cruises along the river, and some of them have said because the river was very low, they had to get off the cruise ship.
Sure, yeah.
And then get transported to the next destination.
Right,
Is that
or if
what it
it's
is?
too high, you can't go under the bridge.
Right.
exactly, yeah.
I know you can't predict what level of water is going to be in a year or whatever. I just wondered if you ever.
Absolutely no, and we talked about it, last year there were issues. We would modify the itinerary, so depending on where, the issues are. Obviously, it's a barge, so like we can't move you to the next port because there is no barge there. So we would either travel on, in that one area and again modify the itinerary to match what, your interest and needs are, or we would go a different route. Or if that's not operational, which, I haven't seen that happen, we would offer you a different journey.
And usually May, it's not so hot, it's July and August where you run into those problems with low water, but not in May.
Yeah, but no, it's a legitimate question and concern for sure. But did I answer?
Yes, you
Yeah.
did. I mean, since I'm not taking the
Absolutely,
river,
yeah.
cruise, all I'm going on based on what some
Yeah.
people have told.
For sure,
That's more the exception rather than the rule. I was just curious.
yeah, oh yeah, no, it's a good question, and we can keep you in the loop. What the waters, what the situation is we're getting into the season, even though barges don't start operating until the end of March. The team is there, I mean, we have a team, with an office there, so, they can always update you on what is what.
How old is this particular barge? And when was it last appointed?
You know what, good question, and I don't have an answer to this, and it's shame on me. We will have to get back to you. Lisa will have to, Lisa, if you can make a note. I have a fact sheet, but it's not telling me when it was built. Yeah, so we'll get back to
How
Lisa.
long has Belmond been in the barge business?
We bought these barges 10 years ago from a family that operated this, the business. And they're all different, each barge has a different feel and look.
I'm sure they're
yeah,
all updated 10 years ago.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Some also are newer because now we are starting, especially with LVMH, they're putting money and making a different feel and look. We have, but we'll get back to you about it.
Are there any dinners, any evenings off the ship? Like, is there a special, 4-star restaurant? or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Or I know that the restaurant on the barge is a 5-star
Yeah,
restaurant,
yeah.
so I didn't know if there was any of those.
Lisa will have to look at the itinerary.
I'd like to plan that to give some local flavor.
For
to
sure.
What we're doing, I think, and it breaks up eating, not that it's a,
Yeah,
dining
absolutely,
experience,
yeah.
but I think I'd like to adventure into the local and experience that, and I think everybody would enjoy that, no?
Oh, of course, no, it's part, getting off the barge was also, as much as the barge is a destination, but it gets you places. We actually hired, his name is Jonathan, he has been in the barge business for the last 20 years. We hired him last year because again, we're elevating this product even higher what it is now, where he will sit down with Lisa and she will collect your needs and your, wishes. And that's where he will kind of modify what I just shared with you and gave you the sample. Again, forgive me, I haven't sailed on this barge, so I had to read my notes. But she will work with Jonathan on really creating that perfect itinerary. So if you want this and not that, yes.
It's more customizable, that's what I like.
Exactly.
It's not, this is what you have. We can talk amongst ourselves and I get a feel for what you want to do, and then we customize it to what we want the experience to be.
Exactly. Now, even the ports, we can't modify too many of them because again, this is really what everybody wants to see, these, most popular areas. But even if that needs to be modified, it can be done. You're chartering a barge, it's yours. So we can't change where, a canal or a river, but we certainly can, can work around your wishes.
And is that the same with the experiences too, Max? Like if we wanted to do like 2 or 3 wineries and then we do some walking tours, so we can make it to where we're not doing the same thing all the time,
Exactly.
like a walking tour.
Exactly, absolutely. I think the things where then it really kind of elevates the experience. I had one family last year, they wanted to do hot air balloon. Oh, we can do it, but it was a separate fee because that was not, it's not included. So.
That group you're with would like to do that.
Yeah. That group was fun. These girls were from England. Every morning they did Pilates and yoga. I had to walk and I'm not a yoga guy, but they were doing it. She had the video on and I had to crawl through them to my chair, and get my coffee. But it's fun, again, if you have, it seems like you have traveled with groups and cruised together. You really enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded travelers. If you definitely connect through food and wine, and really get to see places that you would typically not, see otherwise. It really gets you into the deep, deep Provence.
The hot air experience is amazing.
Have you done it? Yeah.
And only because my grandkids made me do it, but I was nervous and I hadn't done it in years. But they are so expert at what they do. I mean, they're doing this every day.
Yeah.
They've got it down. We're going back through the little farms and they're chasing, where the balloons, it was really, they were extremely competent.
Yeah,
They had
absolutely.
quite an experience.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and again, you're in the wine country. So if you're into wine and you want more wine, we'll show you more wine. Some people say, we like wine, but we don't want, winery. Fine, but again, Lisa, you just all have to, agree together. On, and if somebody doesn't want to leave the barge and wants to stay on the barge, fine, you can relax and read a book and stay on the barge, so.
The barges stay in port during the night.
Yes, yeah, thank you for reminding me to mention that, yeah, so we do not sail at night, you will be bored. And we're more away from crowds, so we're more away from all the big, even if there is like a little, town where like some boats, we're not there. We have our own private, next to somebody's house or, in an area that is secure. And it's typically in the morning again, you will wake up, the barge will still be moored. Once you have your breakfast, the barge will start sailing. And then at lunch will stop, you will leave the barge. It might continue sailing. And then you will board the barge at the next lock. Again, at night, the barge will stop. So depending again on the itinerary, but at night, for dinner, you will be moored. We will not be sailing at dinner time. Slow travel. Slow travel.
We all need to slow down a bit, so I think it's actually a great experience. I need to slow down, especially, so
Yeah.
it'll force me to do that.
Well, I hope I painted the picture and, I hope you enjoyed some of my photos. I have tons of them. I need to go and clean them to also share with my friends. But Lisa is your travel advisor. Will share with you about the barge, when it was built, when it was last renovated, about the cabin sizes. We would love to have you on board. Be assured that you will have the best trip. I mean, I have been with the company for a number of years, and I have been selling barges for the last 2 years. And every time the client comes back, they say it was exceptional. I mean, it's I always think, our trains are the pride of our company, the Orient Express, the Royal Scotsman. But now that I have done this, it's the different, it's just so unique. It's just your floating chateau. Really, it's your floating chateau. So thank you for your time. I hope to see you in Provence on the Napoleon 2024. It is the time to plan this now.
Thank you.
Au revoir. Thank you, and thank you for having Belmond with you tonight.